We were discussing going abroad and what are the steps that are there when, let us say, if you have decided that you want to go abroad, what are the steps that are involved in going abroad? So, what are the major decisions in international marketing? Looking at the global marketing environment, you have to analyze the global marketing environment, deciding whether to go international. Once you have analyzed the global and marketing environment, you have to decide whether you want to go global, deciding which markets to enter. What are the markets which you want to enter? Is it Africa? Is it Europe? Is it Middle East? Where do you want to enter? Deciding how to enter the market. There are different ways again that you can enter. You can use an agent or whatever. Deciding on global marketing program. What should be the marketing program? Once you have decided to go into a particular country, and decide on the global marketing organization. So you want to have a department, marketing department, or you want to have a particular division for that. Now let us look at the first point in that, which is looking at the global marketing environment. The first thing is the international trade system. There are clear international trade systems that are there. First of all, there is a tariff that is going on. Countries actually have customs and excise duties set so that to encourage exports and discourage imports. So this is what many countries do, and you have to work along around that. So when you're trying to get into a country which imposes these kind of tariffs, naturally the price will go up. So is your product good enough to take care of that, go around that higher price compared to local products? Then some countries set quotas for certain products. So they say that you cannot import certain products beyond a particular limit. Only 30% of your total products you can that you're manufacturing in the country can be exported. So there are quotas for exports and imports that countries set up. So, and then there is embargo. Embargo is a total ban on certain products that come. So in fact, not only certain products, certain countries also you have embargo. For example, US does not allow any exports or imports or any trade with Iran. So these are embargoes that are there. Then there is exchange control. Countries are always trying to improve their foreign exchange position. So there are certain exchange controls that you have. You cannot get beyond foreign exchange beyond a certain limit. And then there are the non-tariff trade barriers. So these are some of the international trade systems that is there, which you have to look at when you decide whether you want to go abroad or not. Then there is a World Trade Organization and GATT. This is a treaty. World Trade Organization, WTO, is a treaty designed to promote world trade by reducing tariffs and other international trade barriers. What we are looking is free trade between countries. And for that, you have the World Trade Organization and GATT. Even now, trade is not free, but that is what this particular organization is trying to set up. Then you have the regional trade zones where you have countries joining hands and saying that you can trade freely between these countries. The European Union, for example, or Middle East countries you can have, or SAARC countries. So these are all countries. Between them, you have a free trade. So, it's a group of nations organized to work toward common goals in the regulation of international trade. That is what a regional free trade zone is all about. Then you look at what you have learned before of macro environment, where we're talking about PEST, political, legal, economic, social, and technological this thing. We have to look at those aspects when we decide which country to go. So what is the economic environment? There are different types of countries, types of industrial structures in different countries. You have countries which export raw material and import finished goods, which is raw material exporting economies. They usually are in the lower level of the spectrum as far as development is concerned, underdeveloped countries. You have subsistence economies, which are very, very poor economies, whose main job is agriculture, and their people are trying and failing miserably in actually survive. So this kind of economies, it doesn't make sense since you are trying to sell huge amounts of maybe consumer durable products, which they are not going to buy. The high cost, what you call high ticket products, they are not going to buy. Then you have the industrializing economies, the developing countries. They are shifting from agriculture-based economies to industrial economies, and this is the aspirational kind of people, and they are the middle class economy. Then you have the industrial economies, which is higher level of economies who are already industrialized, and most of it is slowly getting into the service industry. So these are people who have money with them; they are willing to spend, and there is great demand and purchasing power. So these are the different types of economies that are there. If you look at the industrial structure and income distribution, and you have to take a call on the countries to go into based on this aspect. Then you have the political legal environment. At least 4 political legal factors should be considered in deciding whether to go do a business in a given country. First of all, attitude towards international buying. some companies, some countries doesn't like people coming and selling their products in the country. They are not very open towards international buying and selling. So this is, of course, a deterrent to your company going there. So that you have to cross check whether they are supportive of foreign countries coming. Then you have the government bureaucracy. There's always red tape. There are corruption. All these problems that are there in many countries. So you have to look at that. Political stability, we saw. Politics is a major problem. And certain countries, every other day there is a coup happening. The soldiers, the generals, taking over the country and running the country from democratically elected governments, which is a major problem if you are planning to go abroad, because you don't want to get into those kind of situations. Then you have the monetary regulations that countries impose, and even inflation, monetary aspect. That is also very important. Inflation, like we saw, it's an important aspect when we are going up. So monetary regulations, FDIs, for example, they may not have, a country may not allow more than 49% FDI. So all these things are things that you have to consider when you go abroad, and what type of business you are going to get. The cultural environment, like I said, we have the PEST. The third one is the S, which is the social cultural environment. You have to check out the social cultural environment. So let's examine the following before planning a marketing program within a given country, which is how customers think about and use products. How do they use their products? The way they use their products may decide the kind of packaging that they are doing, that you're going to use, and different other aspects. What is the cultural traditions, preferences, and behaviors? Like we saw, Kellogg's had a major problem at some point of time because they were trying to sell their cornflakes and they were not succeeding because it's not a proper item as far as food is concerned for many, breakfast is concerned for many Indians. They want substantial breakfast, which is one of the main meals in a day. So it was not working very well. So you have to slowly change the pattern, attitude of the people. Business norms and behavior. What are the business norms and what is the behavior? You have to know all this when you are getting into a market. So these are the different cultural environment as far as we are concerned. So PEST is something that we have to look at. Now we have to look at deciding whether to go international. Actually, when we take a decision on going international, it should be because there is scope for it, and the product that you have and the resources that you have and the facilities that you have will allow it to go abroad. And we should have a philosophy of an orientation, international orientation. But many a time it is not that. It is a knee-jerk reaction. It is because of something that is happening in the country. It is something happening in that the host country or happening in the company. So some reasons that companies might consider international expansion is because global competitors attack the domestic market. If Pepsi comes into India, the thumbs up will go abroad. That kind of thing. Otherwise, they know that Pepsi will take over thumbs up, or Coca-Cola will take over thumbs up. That is what happened. What happened. So when global competitors attack the domestic market, you go abroad. That is sometimes what happens. And especially when market shares are diminishing, it is contracting. Foreign markets might offer higher profit opportunities naturally. This is what happens in now the Tirupur textile industries. They are very much focused on exports because they get much more money than if they were selling in India. For example, a banyan which costs you 100 rupees in India, when you go abroad, even if it is $5, it is much more than what you will get in India. Domestic markets might be shrinking. That may be a problem. So domestic, you don't have any option. You have lots of facilities. You have people. You have everything ready. So what do? You think about going abroad? Need an enlarged customer base to achieve economies of scale. You may be doing very well in India. Everything is okay, but there's not enough economy of scale. So how do I increase the economy of scale? Go abroad. That is one possibility. Reduce dependency on one market, any one market. I don't want to be dependent only on India. I want to be, if anything happens here, what do I do? So I try out other markets. So even other markets, I don't go into one market. I will go into more than one market because I don't want to be dependent on one. Customers might be expanding abroad. For example, AVT user may be going to Middle East, and 1,000 such AVT users go to Middle East. There's an opportunity there for the company to start a distribution there. So these are some of the reasons why companies decide to go international, not because they had an international orientation when they started the business. Most companies do not act until some situation or events thrust them into the international market. So these are some of the things that we have to look at when we decide to go